professionals or essential workers.
Yeah, fair point. I do think this was a good discussion one. We'll leave that for our listeners to debate at the dinner table, but I put that out there. The Quebec's Order of Nurses wants you to perhaps rethink if that's on your list for a last-minute Halloween costume.
Maybe add some dark circles under your eyes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be an appropriate, acknowledgement of what it's really like to be a nurse these days. Susan Bonner, keeping track of all the goings-on for the world at 6. What have you got coming up?
Well, nurses, if they have open mortgages, can add more stress to their stressful lives because another interest rate today and a signal from the Bank of Canada that it is not done yet. So while we all struggle with inflation and the higher cost of living, the Bank of Canada's remedy is making it harder for us. The argument is that'll be a short-term effect, and that eventually, maybe in a year, they will be able to stop this. And it's some tough economic times ahead, and we look into all of that tonight on The World at 6. We've also got a pretty interesting spy story for you.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm intrigued.
That's the whole idea.
You had me at Spy Story. You had me at The World at 6, quite frankly, because that's
Spook, Halloween, it's all of a thing.
Okay, I see where you're going. Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Susan Bonner has that and lots more coming your way on The World at 6 in 18 minutes time here on your CBC Radio 1. Meantime, I'm Jill Deacon, and you're listening to Here and Now. Toronto artist Charlie Houston plays the Drake Underground tomorrow, and here they are with their song Lately.
I'm all teacher in my bedroom. Yeah, don't feel as good as you do.
weeks ago, the relationship between Kanye West and Adidas has finally soured. Adidas put its working relationship with the rapper under review until yesterday. And now, Adidas is officially ending production on all Yeezy branded products and stopping payments to the rapper. Elmer Kim is the president of Euclid Incorporated, a private investment company in Toronto. Elmer, good afternoon to you. I know you've been thinking a lot about this. Let's start with the significance of this move by Adidas. How lucrative was, for that company, was the partnership with Kanye West?
Oh, good afternoon, Jill. This is quite the story. This may be the biggest, I guess, celebrity endorsement collapse of all time. To give you the scale of this opportunity that was lost by both sides, Adidas has about $22 billion a year in sales. And Kanye West brand, the Yeezy brand of shoes and clothes, represents almost $2 billion worth of sales to Adidas, essentially 10% of their total sales on a global basis.
Wow. So, okay, well, that was really significant in terms of sort of an income generated. But what else, there's a lot more to these brand partnerships than just the finances. Tell me about the cool factor that Kanye did infuse into the Adidas brand.
Well, absolutely. And Adidas competes with Nike and Under Armour and a whole bunch of other brands, whether it's Lululemon here or Puma somewhere else. But certainly Adidas had bet on Kanye West 2004, 2006 in being the cool, on the edge, urban brand in the United States. So where Nike's got Michael Jordan, Adidas bet on, until now, very successfully, with Kanye West, and that was the cool factor for Adidas going forward.
Well, and it's interesting too, isn't it? Because the fact that he was a musician and not an athlete, was that quite innovative from a sportswear brand's perspective?
Yeah, and that's right. And I think when we talk about a sports brand, Adidas isn't necessarily a sports brand. It's a cultural icon in certainly parts of Europe and certainly the United States, where kids wear the Adidas logo, the three stripes. And how do you become more relevant going forward when the kids aren't playing soccer and baseball to the same extent they did 10 years ago? And as the athletically leisure wear is kind of fragmented into specific clothing for specific sporting activities. So here Adidas had transported itself into everyday wear with that cool factor of having the Yeezy brand. And I think for vast majority of Canadians, we may not know, but these are highly coveted pieces of clothing and shoes. Some of these shoes sell on a retail market for $250 to $350 US, and on the aftermarket they can sell for thousands of dollars on top of that.
So what kind of impact is it to the brand? Well, first of all, to lose that partnership with Kanye, but also to have taken kind of a while to come to that decision.
Yeah, it was it took a little bit of time for Adidas to come to terms. This wasn't an overnight event for Kanye West. He's had 2 or 3 episodes prior to his very public anti-Semitic rant 2 weeks ago. So I guess they were doing the, classic short-term, financial damage and repercussions versus the long-term brand damage. So how do you recover from the goodwill associated with dealing with Kanye West? Is he going to go away? And I think the real example from the past was when Tiger Woods was going through a very difficult time. Nike stood by Tiger Woods, hoping that he would rehabilitate his own brand, and the public would accept that. So I suspect that Adidas and the minds at the board level at Adidas was going through the same calculus set, and we're noting, hey, can we do the same thing with Kanye West that Nike did with Tiger Woods? When he got belligerent and crashed his truck into the tree.
Right, you're saying, so that explains the fact that they waited so long to make this final and firm separation with Kanye. But generally, tell me about the impact that this is going to have on Adidas overall, this whole controversy, and its position in the sports apparel market. How quickly can they recoup that, $2 billion, as you say, in sales and so on, and generally reposition themselves?
It's going to be tough. anything that's a knee-jerk reaction is going to be seen, both by the consumer and by the capital markets as not well thought through. They certainly have the immediate repercussions with dealing with the inventory, dealing with the working capital that's tied up in his products, and going forward, who owns the actual designs and the products. And there's going to be a litigation, I suspect, going forward. In the long term, replacing $2 billion for the sales is going to be a pretty meaningful number for any company, including Adidas. So are they going to go for another brand association with a celebrity, or are they going to do something completely different off the wall? And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be more than this quarter until they figure out how they resolve this $2 billion hole.
Yeah, they have claimed ownership, as I understand it, of all Yeezy design. They're going to end the production of the branded products associated with Kanye, but they claim ownership of the design. I mean, do you think that those designs would they try to sell them without that formal partnership? Is there any way that they can try to make use of that product or get another partner?
Yeah, I think that's tough. I think the consumer wasn't buying these ultra chic shoes because of the particular insole design or the eyelid or the technical performance characteristics of the shoes. They're buying it because it's Yeezy brand. And so Kanye West and their team have said, we own the brand. You may own the design, but we own the brand. So the bifurcation is all it's going to be very interesting as to who's going to ultimately come to market first. It's easy making, I think, Yeezy branded t-shirts and clothing, but it's a different matter to actually make Yeezy branded shoes, for example. There's a huge amount of technology that's involved in the footwear aspect of it. So Adidas has got the technology, West has got the actual brand, and how that resolution is going to happen in the next little while. I suspect there's going to be some litigation going forward.
I wonder about the resale market. You'd think that the resellers might be keen to get their hands on these discontinued products that are attached, even though they're attached to such, awful things that Kanye West is now, very clearly associated with. And having said, what do you think the profits might be in the resale market?
Well, Kanye West, before he was booted off of Twitter, he had 30 million subscribers. He is extremely popular, and that audience is still there. As crass as it may sound, paintings and art of dead artists sell for more than the art of living artists. And I think that's what we're seeing here. You're going to see limited production that's in the field right now in the secondary market. They're certainly going to go up in value. And I was taking a look at one of the used shoe auction sites, and overnight they've almost doubled in price from the week before. So I think the secondary market's on fire right now. It will continue to do so. It's a $6 billion market, and for Canadian listeners, the shoe market on a global basis is about $100 billion, but the secondary market in itself is $6 billion, or the used shoe market, which I didn't realize was so significant. Wow. And he's going to have a very large piece of that.
Albert, what do you think is there a cautionary tale here or a lesson in terms of celebrity partnerships? As you pointed out, this was a very successful partnership.